teardrop of the sun. I am the fairest of plants. I am the born valor. I am the salmon in the pool. I am the lake in the plain. I am the strength in wisdom. I am the craft of art. I am the point in the stormy earth. I am the God who shapes in the head, who guards the mountain's rocky mass, who calls the ages of the sea foam, who knows where the sun goes to rest, who drives the herds from Tara's house, who Tethra's cattle summons you, who forms the edge that bites in stone, answer of spear, answer of
Good evening. Welcome to our WOW Wednesday. We have a beautiful WOW program this evening for you with Catherine Mandella, Stories in the Stones. Some of you might have heard about that on Sunday if you were at the service. And I'll let Catherine, she's got lots of stories to tell, so I'll let her tell it. And I am just wanting to welcome all of you. And is there anybody here for the first time today? No? All right, so you all know where the bathrooms are, and you all know to silence your devices, and welcome, and we shall hear Stories in the Stones with Catherine Mandella.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. I've been waiting to share this story for a while. There's so many. You might have to ring me at the end because we could go on till midnight if you don't. But anyway, this story is not only just stories in the stones, but it's really a story about a personal journey of mine, as well as adventure and thin places and magic and the interconnections of all things, and to inspire people to follow a personal journey like the one I did. In fact, a couple things. First of all, by no means am I an expert in the stone circles of the world, and quite frankly, I'm learning more and more about them and realizing they're actually all over the world. They're not just in Great Britain. I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but a lot of the stories will tell their own story, or the stones will tell their own stories, but there's a lot of things that came up that I wasn't expecting, and that's the beauty of going on adventures and quests, because you never know what's out there waiting for you. So I got inspired, yeah. Hopefully not, that wouldn't have been too pleasant. But I was inspired to do this journey because there was a program I watched. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Gaia Network, but there's a gentleman by the name of Matthias DeStefano, the long story behind him. But anyway, he had a program on the Gaia Network, which you can watch this program if you want to go to the Gaia Network and see it. And he explained how these stories and the stones of the circles really have to do with this journey right here. And this is the journey that I took. So basically, when I landed, I started in London and followed this path all the way up to the Orkney Islands. And Matthias de Stefano explained this as the chakras of Great Britain. So the Earth, it has all its chakras, just like, we're like little mini Earths. It has our nodes and energy points. Europe is the heart chakra of the planet. And the center of it is in this general area. I mean, Germany kind of is in there too. But this, basically, if you look at that shape of England, imagine a pregnant woman. So the head is up there, and she said she's down here. She has a pregnant belly right there, and then she's sitting on her knees. And so this is basically her chakras all the way up to her crown chakra and beyond. And so there are stone circles. There's stone circles all over Great Britain, but there's specific ones that I've never even heard of, that are actually part of these chakra systems. So I got so inspired, there was something that drew me to this place, and I wanted to do it. But I didn't want to do it with a big group. I wanted to be alone. So, oops, I hit it. Well, we were at the next slide here. I put this information right here. You might want to take a picture of it or good mental note of it. But there's so much behind this story of who I'm going to mention here. There's no way I can explain it all tonight. But and I'm going to go to Ireland because these are connected. There is the book of Labor Gabala Aaron, which is the book of invasions. So Ireland doesn't have a creation story. The people that ended up there, and they were really all of these 5 invasions, and then the final people, which are the Milesians, the bottom here, who are the ancestors of the Irish today, the Irish and Scottish people. And the Celts, they had been all throughout Europe, and they've picked up cultures all along the way, but there's more than just a human story to this, actually, and I'm going to try to go through this as fast as I can. So the Caesarean group, it was led by the granddaughter of Noah, who was Caesarea, who, as the earth, as humans were kind of going through a hard time, this would be the latter parts of the Atlantean times, before the deluge. Noah actually warned his granddaughter, Caesarea, and some others to get out of Dodge, get on a boat and go to safety, and was led kind of north to be able to escape this deluge. So they managed to actually get to Ireland. Of course, it wasn't called Ireland yet, before the deluge hit. But the deluge came about 30 days later, and it wiped all of them out except for Fintan, who was one of only 3 men in that group. It was actually 50 women and 3 men, and they survived for a little bit. So yes, a lot of happy men in that group. But it only lasted 30 days, apparently. So there was a period of time where about 300 years post-Diluvian times, the Partholonians arrived. And they kind of passed through like Greece and Sicily, Gothia at the time, Spain, and ended up there. And they lasted for a while, but a plague wiped them out. But interestingly, then a group that was from kind of the area of now is Greece, the Nemedians, that was led by Nemed, who got his group of people there. It was maybe a couple hundred. And there was an interesting, strange race of people that were beings that were living there at this time. And this is all explained in the book of Invasions. And they used this part of the world as a base. Some of that has to do with some of these stones we're going to talk about. Can't get too far into that. But then there was the fur bulgs. Fur means man, bulgs means bags. Because there was a group of Celts that were, they had to leave. They were some of the leftover survivors of the Nemedian people. They ended up going back into Europe, proper, and ended up enslaved for a while, and they broke away, and they were known to carry bags. There's kind of more story behind why they were called bagmen, but that was that fourth invasion. But then this is where starts to get interesting for me. So I don't know if you've ever heard of the Tuatha De Danann. They're what we would know as the Fae, the fairy folk, but they were human, and they had this was called the magical period of Ireland and Scotland at that time. And they had a lot to do with the building of the circles and connections to the circles. You won't read about this when you go there and you read the signs that show, oh, and this and 4,000 years ago, this. No, they actually go much further back than that and have much more history to it than what you're going to read on the signs if you go to visit today. We can talk more about that later. But anyway, then the Milesians came around, and they actually really kind of came from Spain. So we know this today as Galicia, and you can still hear it in the music, today from this group of Celts that ended up back to Ireland. So there's all this, it's kind of like they knew this part of the world, and they kept trying to get back to it. So all these people are all kind of connected. So anyway, I probably spent too much time on that, but let's get into the stones. So right here, the first one, if you remember, down at the very southern western tip of England is Boscawen Un. I actually didn't have time to make it to this one, but I was told that you don't have to physically be anywhere to connect with them. You can just connect with them in the ethers, in your mind, in your, in the astral. So I'm not going to talk too much about this one. And this is one I'm not going to talk too much about either. Stonehenge, we're all familiar with. That's the largest, it's not the biggest in circumference, but it's the largest stoned leftover circle that is in this part of the world. I didn't go to it. I've been there before. This trip I didn't go because it's been part of the World Heritage Site, so they really kind of made it into a Disneyland. Too many people. And I learned this later, you'll see. When there's so many people and tourists, they aren't always there for the right reasons or really connecting with the place. It drains the energy of them. So I didn't bother going there, but I did go to Avebury. Avebury, which is just north of Stonehenge, this is the kind of solar plexus part of the chakra system of Great Britain. It's the largest circle. You can see that upper right picture has what it looked like when it was initially built. And there's a little village. It's so big, there's like a little village in the middle of it. And there's a lot of interesting lore about this one, but this is one that's still it's so close to London. It's like 30 minutes out of London. You can look this up. I don't want to spend too much time on this story because you can find it online easy. There are some stories that you won't hear in books or on the signs there, but I'm just going to move on to this next one. So Glastonbury, and this is one of the things that really drew me to Glastonbury. Some information that I've learned, and it goes back to the Tuatha De Danann, so the Fae folk. And it also has to go back to blood types. And I had learned that a lot of people with an A, it could be positive or negative, but the A blood type it's Norse based, and that that Druids are our ancestors. And I have learned what the Druids are, where there was a period of time, because our Earth, our existence hasn't always been this real dense, third density, low vibration time. We have had periods in our human history where we were higher in frequency and had more powers than we do now. We kind of descended. This is all in the biblical texts and such. But there was a period of time where the Tuatha De Danann, they still had their magic, but they knew that the earth was dropping in frequency and density, and they sought out relations with spiritually advanced humans at the time, and they had progeny who became the Druids. And so people with an A blood type are part of this lineage. And I also heard about that there's a connection to the Fae. So I'm like, And then I heard, well, a lot of time, if you go to Glastonbury, and before I even get there, let me explain what you're looking at in these pictures. And hopefully my head isn't too much in the way. But in the upper left corner, you'll see something that looks like a big yoni. That is actually the Tor in Glastonbury. It's what's remnant of an abbey. And it's on top of this natural mound that actually is one of those power spots. on the planet, one of the vortexes. I can go on and on about what is around there. Of course, there's a big music festival that happens there now. One of the reasons why I wanted to hurry up and get there is because I heard there's talk of trying to make this place in the World Heritage Site, which is you're gonna have to buy tickets to get there. It's already kind of a mess at, finding parking sometimes, but it will Disneyland it out a little bit. So, yeah, if you want to get there before then, go now. But that lower picture is the door of that tour. You can walk up to it and walk through it. And one of the interesting things that I found when I was walking around it is that the stones were made of, obviously stones of nearby. This is very close to Wales, and it's very close to the coast, and there's fossilized shells throughout all these stone blocks making this abbey. And this is also a location, and I had heard this. I didn't even realize it was all right here. I've heard stories here and there about Joseph of Arimathea. I don't know if you've ever heard who he was, but I had heard stories about how Mary and Jesus used to take off, and Joseph of Arimathea was a relative. Sometimes I've heard it was a brother, sometimes it was an uncle. I've heard that it was actually Mary Magdalene's uncle, but whatever the story is, they were connected, and Joseph of Arimathea was supposedly the one that took Jesus to the tomb after the crucifixion. So, or took him out, rather. They used to go here, and they used to spend time. Mary and Jesus would come to this area and learn from spend time with the Druids and learn from the Druids. So that was actually, a lot of these places were built by Joseph of Arimathea because he was a wealthy businessman. He owned a fleet of ships. They needed a lot of tin in those days. They would go to Wales because that's where you could get it, and they would take it back to, the Fertile Crescent area. So not only that, this is also the location. There's an abbey right near town. If you looked down that hill, the town is there, and there's an abbey that supposedly, King Arthur was buried there. They have a gravesite there. I hear his body's not there anymore. It's taken somewhere else, and they don't share really where it is. But lots of really cool information about this place. It's also the location of the Chalice Well Gardens and the Chalice Well. And this is where it got intriguing for me, because what I had learned is people with this A bloodline often have blood problems. I didn't know this, but I realized as I was entering menopause, it definitely made itself present. And I have to say, so I'd learned that because the Tuatha De Danann weren't of the human blood connection, there was kind of maybe a kind of a difficulty with having like blood deficiency, and a lot of people with the A blood type have blood problems. They're either, I know somebody that's got hematochromatosis, a lot of just blood deficiencies, and I can tell you that for the last 10 years I've been having this bad problem with. I had to, at this time of year, every March, I would have to do really major cleanse and take this Chinese herb that gets the fire out of my blood. And I was told that if you drink the Chalice Well water, it'll activate you. And the Chalice Well, you can see on the left, the left, the lines, you can see the water is very red. And if you drink it, some people think it tastes like blood. It's very high in iron, and there's actually also, and most people don't know this, there's an untraceable mineral in it that will definitely help people with the A blood type. I drank this water, and I haven't had this problem. It's already the middle of March, and I see people having allergy problems. My face isn't blowing up. I'm not having a blood problem. So maybe it worked. I'm going to go with that story. So they say you take it homeopathically, so you don't want to just like go and gulp it, because it'll make you kind of nauseous. And I did kind of drink like maybe about that much out of my water bottle, and it did kind of make me a little nauseous at first. But then when I drank it late, like after a couple days later, my body was getting used to it. It didn't have the same effect. It didn't make me nauseous. And I know a lot of the people that live there, that's where they go and get their water. There's actually, on the outside of the gardens, there's a little spigot where you can just fill up, your water bottles, and people would drink it. And, like the Airbnb place that I stayed at, that guy gets all his drinking water from the Chalice well. There's lots more about that place, but we have to keep moving. So as I started moving north, because I had I had to get all the way up to the Orkney Islands in the north of Scotland, the next place I stopped was Mitchell's Fold. Now, Mitchell's Fold seemed kind of like a nondescript place. It was somewhere in between, like, the root chakra and the heart chakra. We didn't quite get to that point yet. But I brought along my midi sprout, and I have it here because oh my goodness, we have to back up just for a little bit. Glastonbury well. This water, because my sister said, because she also is an A blood type, you have to bring me some back. So I smuggled some back in a little jam jar, and we're going to listen to what it sounds like in its frequencies, its own music. So my PlantWave that I have, it's called a PlantWave device. It's a little mini, relatively basic MIDI device, which is a musical interface device. So it'll translate frequencies in something that's living and translate it into a musical note. So let's see, I might be able to get this without even having to turn it off. Let's see. Yeah, oh good, I don't have to even get that. So this is the water's music right here. Right now, if everybody right now collectively sends love to this water, let's see if we could hear it change right now. Glastonbury water sounds like. Now she gets to drink it. But you can charge your water. If sunlight was hitting it, it would sound even more charged. One thing that we should always remember to do is always tell your water you love it before you drink it, because water stores memory. Water is memory, and it's crystal. It's liquid crystal basically, and it's a transmitter. So you can transmit anything through water, and it will go into you or whoever else you want it to go into. So now we'll go back to Mitchell's Fold. So interestingly, some of the rocks that I took this and placed it on rocks, and sometimes rocks would sing, sometimes they wouldn't. And this could be for various reasons. In Mitchell's Fold, there was one major rock that was in the middle. It was taller than the other one, so I chose that one. And it would only sing if I put the pads on the top of the rock. If I put it on the side, it wouldn't. Other rocks, I didn't have that. You put them on the side, it would sing. But this one would only sing if it was on the top. Oh, it's very windy, and I'm not, a Spielberg cinematographer, so you'll have to deal with the wind sounds. Need to turn a little bit because the low frequency things aren't coming out. You'll find that a lot of these locations are placed strategically so they have views. They connect with other mountains, and they have good views of the sky. getting windy. We'll move on. So, yeah, you'll have to, not all of the videos are windy, but some of the locations are quite windy, so you'll have to bear with that. Plus, I was having to dodge a lot of cow patties and potholes and stepping over plants, so, it might get a little shaky, but I'll try not to, just put on your seatbelts, you'll be all right. Or your roller skates, as somebody said. So, okay, this place. I wasn't anticipating what had happened here. Now, in that program that Matthias DeStefano did, I was kind of glad I didn't watch it for a long time because I didn't want my what his experience is and that group's experience is like. I mean, I like to kind of know what he knows about these places, but we're all the author of our own book, so we're going to write our own story. So I wanted my own stories. And 9 Ladies, this place, the photo, it's kind of hard to see on this particular photo, but you can kind of see all the dots, and then there's like 4 circles. In this location, this was not quite to Scotland. It was in the northern part of England, and you kind of have to just find these places out in somebody's farm sometimes. And there were more circles there that I didn't have time to get to. But what I did learn, and you're not going to read about this, I learned this from other sources, like just people who know, that in ancient times and in druidic times, it was where you go for specific initiations, like one to activate your heart chakra, one to activate your solar plexus, one to activate your pineal gland. I only really found the one with the heart chakra, and apparently I needed that. And it was raining when I got there. That lower picture that you see on the bottom left is the circle. It's kind of nondescript. It wasn't big. The stones weren't huge. There were petroglyphs in them. There were pictographs in like some kind of Norse, some kind of there was different periods of carvings that were in them. And the pasture that you see right there on the bottom right, I had to climb over a wall and walk through some pasture to get there. And as I was approaching that chunk of forest right there, I got the strong sense of fairies. Like I just knew fairies were there. And I had learned that they'll let you know they're there by leaving a white feather. And so as soon as I walked in the gate, you'll see in that middle picture, I saw the white feather. And I didn't really, because there was some forks in the road, I didn't really know where, on the path, I didn't exactly know where I was going. So I was just following the feathers. And it actually led me to one place that I needed to see, but it's not a place like for everybody to see. Sometimes they're your own stories. But I did find the circle, and along the way I noticed, there was just a lot of magic going on. Like I felt a lot of Arthurian and Excalibur likeness. It was just like I just felt King Arthur around. And when I took some photos, it's kind of hard to see. I don't know if you see, see in the shot right there, there's like rainbow crystal shapes. And then this thing right here kind of looks like an Excalibur to me. And there's just cool. And then I took another shot. I have other shots of that same view, and those weren't in the picture. So a lot of times cameras can pick up stuff that our eyes can't see. And then the rock, I came across things that I couldn't explain, but I know they had significance. I mean, there was this one path to this one stone, and there's a program that I'll mention. Make a mental note of this because you'll want to watch it. Again, it's on the Gaia Network, but I don't know if you can see it on YouTube or somewhere else, but there's a man named Freddie Silva. He's an excellent ancient historian, and he did this program called Megaliths. There's a lot of programs called Megaliths, but this one is about the stone circles of Europe. And he found a correlation between all the stone circles of Great Britain, France, Portugal, and how they all connect to these ones in Armenia. There's an Armenian highlands. I didn't know Armenia had stone circles, but they are all the same design. You'll see rocks that look like this. It has weird formations that don't seem natural to me. There were some carvings. There was different dates because, I mean, people have been around these for a long time. But when I went to that stone and plugged in my MIDI sprout, well, let me explain a little bit because you'll see me throwing my shoes off. As soon as I turned the MIDI sprout on, the ground started shaking. I'm like, I got to take you'll see me take my shoes off. And this is what I experienced. It was raining when I got there. I'll just let you see it, and then I'll tell you what happened after. So as you can see, I was thinking, I'll get all fancy filming and like try to pan out into the sky. I didn't really know what was going on, but when I panned up to the top above the circle, the clouds cleared up. And I've heard this from other people that I've talked to, is when they're like actually really connecting with the stones, like you're vibing with it, and it's raining, it will rain everywhere but over the circle. And I actually had that happen. I talked to people later who said, yeah, I've had that happen. Like there was one I went to, and it had been raining the day before, and it was a Scottish woman. She was telling me how, yesterday it rained and then it kind of stopped, and there was a rainbow that ended right in the middle of the circle. And I was like, I missed it. But anyway, so there you never know where the magic's going to happen. Sometimes it finds you. So moving right along northward, we get to Druid's Temple. Now, the interesting thing about Druid's Temple, it looks very cool. One of the things that I'd learned from, well, Matthias talked about this. He had a major, like, Merlin encounter when he and his group were there. I don't know if I necessarily did. There were so many tourists there, it was kind of hard for me to connect. But this temple was not made very long ago. It was only made in the 1800s. It might have, one source said the 1700s, but whoever made it, first of all, even in the 1800s, to have the technology to move stones like this, apparently it was made supposedly to give some local poor folk some work. This rich guy, I forget his name, he wanted to employ some people, and they built this. But the reality is, people that have studied it, where all the stones are placed, I mean, it was whoever this was had a very strong understanding of druidic ceremony and practices. And this, like the tower that was up, like that upper right picture, you're up on near that tower looking down at the temple, and kind of where I was standing, there was actually a cave underneath where I was standing, and there was some, obviously a place for stuff, kind of the womb where you got to go in and do inner work. And this tower stack, there were 12 for each of the zodiac signs. So this person knew stuff. He wasn't just, let's make a cool looking temple. This is kind of what I got. It would only sing on the top of the stones here, not all the stones would sing, but this one did. This was like the altar stone, like when you go in the front, there was like an altar and offerings are put there. And look for an insect, because you'll find like when living things, especially buzzing things, it activated the rock that it landed on. So this is part of that interconnection of all things side of the story. You'll find that stones will react to a lot of things. Like you'll notice when the sun is hitting them, they'll be a lot more lively than when the sun is not hitting them or at nighttime. When certain stones, like I noticed when it was like a really nice vibe and people or dogs came by, they would react when the people or the dogs came by. So a lot of it has to do with intention. Now, this next location that I am at, this is a place, this stone is called Castlerig, and it's in the Lake District of England. So it's the northern, like west side of England before you get into Scotland. And I don't really show it in this video, in this presentation, but there are 9 lakes in this area, and they're all set in a strategic, the sacred 9 geometric pattern, and there's energy to that. There's more to that story. You can look it up and read more later. But what I had learned here, my experience here was it was raining. It was actively raining. There had been a major storm the last 2 days, and I put the probes on 2 different rocks. So I have one, like, in order to make this sing, is that you have to make a close connection. So either, I'm touching it myself, or like on a plant, if you put, both of the probes onto the plant, it will close the circle. So I put one on one rock and one on the other. It looks a little ugly. I have my umbrella holding one up. The rocks were all wet. So my little pads, like the tens unit pads, it wasn't sticking to the rocks. I had to have something to prop them. But this is what happens when you have two rocks singing together. And you'll notice I got there early and there weren't anybody. I wanted to have a place to myself for a while, so I had to get up early. But you'll notice at one point it starts getting really active. And though it's active right now, but that's because I just tuned into it. But I was like, why is it like changing? And I looked up and people finished their breakfast and are on their way. There was a bunch of people heading to their circle, and you'll see, I noticed that some of the stone circles were very communal. Like there's kind of this area right here, and there was a place on the outside where they found remains of food, scraps and stuff. So it was like a place where the community would gather, do their ceremony, rituals, have food, party, who knows what they were celebrating. But some of these stones, they need the people to be activated. I'm gonna go ahead and move on from here. So it was a little lesson for me too, because so often it's like, people, gotta get away from the people, right? But we need people. The reality is we can't be without other people. So I had to keep that in mind in a lot of these circumstances where it's like, can't I just have this place alone for once, But then I found that sometimes it was higher energy when there were people. So, and then sometimes you find some really cool people that share information with you, or, oh, you should go see this, and that kind of thing. So, so as I'm getting closer to Scotland, there was a place called Little Meg, but there's also Long Meg and her daughters. That wasn't really on one of the lists of Matthias, but I went there because I was drawn to it. And this is what I found. Now, one of the things that I noticed is the more crystalline structure in the rock, the more powerful its frequencies were. And the more the sun hit it, the more off the chart it was. And you're going to hear it, as soon as this one's, I plugged the MIDI or the PlantWave into it, you'll see. And unfortunately, the video photos don't do it justice. When the sun was hitting it and you were standing in front of it, it was like glistening, like with just all these little crystals all over it, shining. You can kind of make out it in some spots, but this is what it did. And you'll get a bigger picture. This circle was big, and of course, all these circles line up to stars. So I have more to say about that in a minute, but this is what Little Meg, actually Long Meg, and she was tall. She was like 12 feet tall. She was one of the tallest, not the tallest, but one of the tallest stones there, and she was a different makeup, a different matrix than the daughter stones. She was a red sandstone, and I found that wherever there were red stones, these were particularly powerful spots, more than normal. And I'd learned that in ancient times, like in Lemurian times, pre and contemporary times with the Atlantis, the Lemurians knew the powers of a red crystal. I'm going to mostly leave it at that. I'll let you look up what are red crystals. But in my case, while I was in England, some of these places with red crystals had a lot of power, and this is what she sounded like. The Knights Templar knew about these red crystals. In fact, there's a program on Gaia and some others where the Grand Master talks about what the red crystals are and what the Knights Templar's role in that was. This circle had a road going through it. People could drive through it. You might get a little bit of glistening. This is so not doing it justice, but we know how that is. Every time I heard that sound, it was like high crystal content. You could even see little crystal fingers in my wild hair. There are pictographs or petroglyphs in these stones. Old Norse, old cuneiform kind of. See the spiral right there? Because we've got lots more. But so that was Long Meg. Little Meg, interestingly, was a very powerful spot in the Kundalini of Great Britain. It was very early in the morning when I got there, so I was waiting for the sun to hit it. You'll hear it kind of expand in its awakeness and liveliness by the more the sun hit it. And the circle is extremely small. It's only like from this front row to me. The sun only just began hitting the rock. It wasn't doing much until the sun hit it. interesting trying to find some of these places because it was like some of them seemed like it was on private property, or the road, the GPS would take me down some interesting path, and I ended up in the middle of somebody's farm, and then it dead ended. Fortunately the guy was out, and he said, "Oh no, yeah, you gotta go back, go over to Calibrate, and then take this other road, and you'll find it." So, gosh, moving right along. So this is Edinburgh, and what you're looking up at that kind of cliff face thing there is Arthur's seat. Now it's said that King Arthur Camelot was on top of this. It's an extinct volcano, and it overlooks Edinburgh. And you see the Edinburgh Castle, that mound in the distance there is where Edinburgh Castle is located, another geologic and power spot. And apparently this is where King Arthur's time, and his time, it's said that he was really trying to recreate Avalon on Earth. It's just that Earth was at a too low of a density at the time to happen. But we're at the point where we can start recreating Avalon again. So a lot of Arthurian stories are coming up, and a lot of people are becoming more and more awake to this kind of thing. But you can go up there. It's a park, like a county park, and you can get up onto the very top and hike up there if you want to. And it's a pretty cool view. But I'm in Scotland now, as you know. That was Edinburgh. So north of Edinburgh is the Cairngorm National Park, and there is a stone circle there called Tomnavery. Tomnavery, we're getting kind of into the throat chakra of the chakra system of Great Britain. And interestingly, this stone circle, it was not very big. A lot of burials. There's a lot of burials around these stone circles. This most likely came later because people knew these were power spots and they wanted to be buried there. So you'll find different epochs of burials around them. But what I noticed, and I had this one all to myself, and I finally get to have one to myself. And I brought my flute, and I was going to try to connect with it, and I didn't really get much energy from it. And then I realized, and you'll see as you watch this video, just on the other side of the fence, there's a couple of like a little barbed wire thing, and then there's a sign saying Royal Military Nuclear Radar Station. I'm like, great. No wonder I'm not feeling anything here. But the rocks weren't doing much. However, it just rained, and there was puddles of water in the rock. Water will wash all that away, and you'll see this. I've got the little probes in the water here because the rocks didn't do anything with me. So they did a little bit. I don't have the video part of my flute because the wind is blowing really bad, and flute's in wind don't work very well together. As I pan back, you'll see the military installment, kind of. location. This was very cool. This also is in the north part of the Cairngorms National Park of Scotland. And this place is called Clava Cairns. Cairns are, mounds of rocks. And what's cool about this one, again, before I got in there, felt a lot of fairy presence. And then, of course, what did I see? A white feather. You'll see in a minute. But it's kind of a lame photo right there. I was trying to get a cool aerial shot of these three. These stone cairns line up with the belt of Orion, just like the pyramids. And I noticed this in a couple of other places. There's a lot of connecting to the Orion system and the belt stars. And they also, the one on the right, you'll see a slit that you could actually walk through in the middle. Originally, they had thatched roofs over them, and they were designed, the one on the right would line up with the winter solstice, and still does. You can go there today. People do get their photo shots, like you see some of these here. Kind of a lame one right there, but that's actually the winter solstice. And then one on the left side, it lines up with the summer solstice. The one in the middle is enclosed. It's kind of like the womb. It had a lot of divine feminine energy at this particular location. And a lot of womb-like things, but then it also projected out and was connected with the stars. So it was a balance of divine feminine and divine masculine energy. We can get into that another time, but there was a very strong fairy presence, and I just knew they were in this little crook of a tree with these mushrooms. I'll play that there. But in this location, I did try to see what the frequencies would sound like in the middle of that bottom right cairn inside the circle, which we'll see in a minute. But before I got there, as I walked in the gate, I see the feathers. In fact, I saw two. It's kind of hard to see on this picture, but they're right there. And they led me to that first one. There was another feather I saw right there in the middle there. And I always feel them very associated with forests. They're not always in the forest, because there was one where there's a lot of parts of northern Scotland, there aren't trees left. People over the years have just wiped them out. But they're very associated with forests. And in this location, I was really curious to see, what you're going to see in this video is I have one probe hooked up to a stone, and the other one to the tree next to it, to see what music they made together. And this is how this came out. Strategically chosen because of the energies and frequencies of the area. But what was really interesting about this area, maybe I'm sure, how many of you saw Outlander on Netflix? So this place is right next to Culloden, the Battle of Culloden, and I don't know if you've ever heard how many people here understand this. A lot of indigenous people still do this, but like, for example, menstrual blood, like woman's blood, it's important that it goes back to the earth, and the earth thrives on menstrual blood. We used to teach this to our girls becoming women. Some still do this. This practice is returning, and this was, all around the world at one time. Because men didn't have that ability, there was a period of time where it was thought that if they shed their blood in battle and did their blood to the earth that way, it would be their way of connecting with the earth. However, it was in a negative way. and cairngorms are right next to each other. If you go over those trees, that's the open field that the battle was. So, yeah. So, oh, I'm trying to keep going here. So this is basically, the inside and the, looking into a cairn. Are we okay if we go over a little bit? Okay, I'll try not to keep you too long, Lucas, I'm sorry. I'll keep talking. I'll just do this one really quick. This is inside the winter solstice. It's very subdued. I think this was designed to light up. The sun would go in and light it up. And it would light up like a supernova when that would happen. And that's what this place is about. Of course, there's more to it than that. But anyway, I'm going to move to towards the end here. So there's two more I want to talk about. Callanish is on the Isle of Lewis. So there's a big island on the northwest side of Scotland that you can go to. There aren't a lot of trees there. This stone circle is where, in the Outlander series, where she goes in and touches stones, this is it. And unfortunately, that series made this really popular, so it's full of a lot of tourists. And so I was so looking forward to this one, but this is an area where it was really hard to connect to the stones because it was just like there was too many people they just wanted the photo shot. Like, you can get really cool shots there, and people were in your way, and I was trying to do something. This man, excuse me, Mom, could you please move your device so I can get a photo? Like, it just didn't work. I was just having a hard time connecting. And some of the stones would not sing. And I did learn that, and this is not information that even the locals mostly know anymore. I kind of got this from other sources of people from there that know more about it, that these were built by giants, and that the giants are still there, but they have retreated to the water. And this was one of the periods. Remember the five waves of invasions has to do with that period of time. And if you ever go to Ireland and you go up to that north part, the Avenue of the Giants, these are steps that were supposedly made by them to help them get in and out of the sea. So this is also, I found white feathers here, so there was fairies here. I was just having a hard time connecting with them. Some of the rocks were built, some of them aren't on anymore. They're kind of like skeletons, remains. There's some, like the middle one, which you'll hear in a minute, it does still sing because I have proof of that. But there were two smaller circles down the road, like one about a mile away and like another half a mile. And at first I thought they were in the Orion shape too, but I was like, oh, correlation. And I did a Google Earth thing, and then it wasn't quite the shape of Orion. I found out that when they were built, this stone circle was built. This is apparently the oldest stone circle in that part of the world, one of the oldest on the planet, and that the stars weren't the same then. So the two other ones lined up with stars of that time, but they're not there anymore. So that's some of the backstory on this one. Actually, I should have just kept this going because it's a video. But you'll see a couple of shots of both locations. And I find that some of these stones, like, they all have specific shapes. Like, they chose specific shapes for specific reasons that I don't even come close to know. But sometimes they'll have holes in them. And they're very old holes, and I don't know if the holes were built like something carved these holes. But they definitely were significant. And you'll see there's kind of a drop-off little down the hill from this right next to it. I found a little spot that's a little more out of the wind that had crystals on it. one of the middle smaller stones, and I found a lot of sheep and cow find them as perfect back scratchers. But this rock that I'm touching right here, usually the sunny side would be warmed up. This middle rock, and the first very photo I had in the beginning, it's a rock, and it is emanating heat, even from the back on the sunny side. So sometimes you'll notice things like that. It was just very cool. This is towards the end. This was the last stone circle I went to. This is called the Ring of Brodgar. This is on the Orkney Islands. So you got to take a ferry up to the Orkney Islands. Highly recommended. Very cool. Another place built by giants, as the lore says. And what I found with the Ring of Brodgar, I don't have it here, but there was the circle, and then on the outside of the circle was another stone just kind of standing by itself. And it was explained that it was the fiddler stone. So when we have learned about how a lot of these things were built, how do you move big 14-ton stones? Well, it was frequency. So I think that the fiddler probably was representing the musicians, the frequency makers of part of this whole, it's part of a big story. But all of these stone circles, we've learned that they line up to something in the skies. So they're reminding us this is where we came from. So more and more of this is coming out. I did have it as a video, but you know what it's called now. You can look it up. There it is. Actually, it's not too long. This is the fiddler's stone. It said that they were practicing witchcraft on Sunday. Christianity had come into the scene by this time, and so they were punished by being turned to stone in the fiddler rock. So actually, I'll let you see this. It's short. You'll get an idea of where it was positioned to the circle in the distance. Because, this was just barely scratching the surface of what is to know. And the more you know you don't know, and the more you want to know, that's what it's like. And it's just an endless rabbit hole of thirst for knowledge. And a couple of things, I'll start with the right. This is Loch Ness. And when I had to go say hi to Loch Ness, on my way, I was passing by it. So I walked by there and I saw this sign that said, like California. I'm like, what? What's this like California thing? I also knew there was an Inverness. We all know about Point Reyes and Inverness. Well, geologically, they're very similar. It's a long river on a fault line. So there's different landmasses, two different continental plates going in different, or tectonic plates going in different directions. And this is also, I have learned by sources that aren't in most books, that there are still dragons in this area. If you are in the right frequency, you can see them, which is probably the lore about Loch Ness. So, and keep in mind, we had the whole dinosaur period too, right? But that's a whole other rabbit hole. But the left picture, the tree, like, ooh, pretty tree, right? This is actually a personal story. I want to share it because this is hopefully will inspire you to go. But the tree, okay, so on my way north, my GPS changed its course on me without my consultation, so I really didn't know where I was. And as I was driving down the road, it was all pretty, so it was all good. But I saw the sign that says, forest walk, 1 mile down this road. So I was like, oh. So I took it, and as I was approaching this forest, I started getting this weird sensation of, well, one, actually kind of sadness, because they clear cut. And, you know, their practice is either there's no forest left, or it's big clear cut chunks and then a forest in a square, and then a clear chunk and then a forest in a square. But anyway, I get there and I started getting this weird sensation of bears. And I'm like, Scotland doesn't have bears. And then I pull into the, you know, into the parking area, and it's all to myself, and it was really beautiful. And I remember thinking, I feel like I need bear spray. And then and I'm like, crap, I got a bunch of food in my car. My Californian self says, you know, you don't leave food in your car in the forest, right? So, and I got this rental car. That would be an expensive fix. How am I going to spend that? So, but then I see the trailhead sign, and I see a picture of a bear on it. So I'm like, I got to go check this out. Like, looking around me, like, I felt like formidable big bears. So I read the sign. It said, yeah, there was once the Caledonian bear once roamed these forests, but the Romans hunted him to extinction. And they used to, and I had this really strong sense of sadness when I was there too. And I had read that the Romans would capture some and take them to the Colosseum to, have them tear a prisoner apart that was tied to a post, that kind of lovely human period. So anyway, I thought, okay, well, good. I don't have to worry about my existence at that point. So I followed the trail down, and I went down to a creek, and it was a little loop trail. And as I got down to the bottom, there was a carved statue of a bear. It was a pretty big, I would say maybe about 7 feet tall, and it was a tree trunk, and they carved it. And right where the heart was, there was a knot in the wood, right on the heart, and it was shaped like a heart, and it actually had drips of sap coming out of it, like it was bleeding, And I had this dang it, we don't get to have them with us anymore because of that and all these other things going on. But I did feel them but they were still very much there in the ethers. They were very present there. And this bear, I didn't want to take a picture of it because it didn't feel right to take a picture of it, but it was looking up at this tree right here. And I actually didn't realize this message this bear gave me, but what we do know, here, in Native America, the bear represents introspection. It's representing the time of adolescence, when where we have to go inside and figure out who we are again. And, it's part of the circle. And this tree fascinated me because it looked like, the ends of it looked like snowflakes. And what I was realizing is, it's like the associated, in some cultures, the associated time of the year is fall, when you're getting prepared for the winter, where you're getting ready to hibernate and go inside and, get your knowledge. And when I was looking at this tree, I remembered something as I'm putting this program together, remembering how that we all have a frequency and we all have a geometric shape that's our own and no others. And when I saw mine, it looked like a snowflake with these exact shapes at the end of this tree. So this nobody else would probably go there and see this, but it was my higher self telling me and reminding me this. So this is, when you go on journeys like this is like helping you, you find yourself. And so this is, examples of the thin places. So things to remember: stay curious, always ask why. And, you always want to connect with nature every day, not just Earth Day. And, this raising our frequencies to where sound becomes light, as we return back to oneness that we have never really left, just only forgot that we did. But one thing I thought I'd send you off with, I learned how to say I love you in Scottish Gaelic, which is not Irish. They were born of the same language, but there's actually 3 different kinds. So, ha gil acham orst. That's how you say I love you in Scottish. So, anyway, I hope I went way over. I am so sorry, but thank you. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so you have to see this. So, we thought, oh, look, we didn't light up the Yoper Light Dragon. No, check that. Yeah, oh, sorry. This is actually, it's a dragon carved Yoper light that you get around Lake Superior, and it fluoresces. Yeah, and anyway, I'll leave that. Where is it? So if you connect with different frequencies, this is how we thought this would be cool. So I have a fossilized dinosaur tooth, and is it on? So, what's going on here? We gotta touch this, that's why. So, we can actually, the dinosaur tooth helps us make the connection. So, we're completing the circuit. Like if she and I just touched, yeah, we would complete a circuit. But interestingly, what happened? Interestingly, if you take tourmaline, this is a piece of tourmaline, and if we touched it, it won't do anything because tourmaline is a polarized mineral. So its magnetic frequencies only go one direction, which is why it makes it good to put it around our electronics, because it will help draw the EMFs away from us but not push them back in. So this is just an example of how spirituality can be explained scientifically and vice versa. So it's all about reconnecting it all because it's all part of the same thing. This is a fossilized leaf that I got in Idaho. It's not polarized. I'll have to look it up. I don't know if Yoper light is polarized. It might be.
Seems like it.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, we'll get one. Like here, this is a fossilized caribou bone from Alaska that I brought back months ago. This one. This one doesn't. So who knows? Maybe this caribou died in a place full of tourmaline or something. I don't know. It polarized itself somehow. But you know, this was kind of interesting because this makes me really think about how like products I use and like wearing natural clothing and eating on natural plates and using natural things, because this did sing earlier.
Yeah.
Figures. Oh no, there it goes. So, you know, when you think about like if you were to grab plastic, so we have, well, grab my water, grab that one, the other one, or the steel one.
Okay.
So if you touch your stainless steel bottle, it connects nicely. There's conductance. Wow, that's some bass in there. Nice spectrum. But if you touch plastic, nada. So, gosh, we could keep on going, but I think PlantWave. You can go online and buy one yourself.
It's very
It's
fascinating.
very cool, and you'll have all kinds of fun with it.
So we thank you for being here. Thank you for staying a little bit late, and we are gonna take an offering. So all of you, I know that you know the offering blessing. So let's say it together. Divine love, as needed, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God. Thank you all for sharing this evening.
Thank you.
I have one more question.
Sure.
Have you been to American Stonehenge?
Can you play that?
Oh, that first. Oh gosh, I didn't even explain
Let's do
the story
this.
of Amerden. Oh, you want? Okay. That song you listened to in the very beginning was the very first Irish spoken in Ireland. The very first Gaelic, the oldest known Gaelic song, and it's called. And the reason why the Milesians were able to make it to Ireland is because Amergen, their leader, connected with the earth, everything, all the animals and all the plants and all the rocks, and this is why the Tuatha De Danann allowed them to occupy Ireland. So this is the song in English. I'm learning it in Gaelic as we speak. I go halfway through it in Gaelic right now.
I am the wave upon the land. I am the roar of the ocean. I am the stag of 7 times. I am the hawk on the cliff. I am the teardrop of the sun. I am the fairest of plants. I am the born valley. I am the salmon in the pool. I am the lake in the plain. I am the strength in wisdom. I am the craft of art. I am the point in the stormy earth. I am the God who shapes in the hand, who guards the mountains, rocky mountains, who calls the ages of the sea forth, who knows where the sun goes to rest, who drives the herds from Tara's house, who Tethra's cattle summons you, who forms the edge that bites in stone, answer of spear, answer of
Fairies just are, like you can connect with them anywhere and everywhere. It doesn't matter where you're at, but some places where it's thinner, you will have an easier time to. In fact, I didn't really get into it, but when I was in that forest on the way to that nice lady circle, I actually saw one. They don't always let you see it, and I was awake because I've seen it like when it's kind of in that